How's it going, boys? Johnny Superbman here, and it's time for us to start talking about the NHL. Finally, we're still in preseason, and normally I don't watch preseason games, but we were gonna play club games last night. Kryptonite got on, and he told me, "Oh my God, did you see what happened in the Toronto and Buffalo game?" I was like, "What happened?" He's like, "A line brawl." I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I got on NHL.com, I checked it out. Holy crap, unbelievable! That's hockey right there, you know. So I mean, I watched that. I wake up this morning and I want to start talking about hockey again. So yeah, we can start talking about the NHL again. Preseason in my books is pretty much over. Okay, so I want to talk about the line brawl between between the Toronto Maple Leafs and Buffalo last night. Give my opinions on the situation. You guys can hear my opinions. Give your own opinions in the comments. Get into arguments like I know you guys will about this. And before we start, I want to just say I am a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. I'm gonna try and be as unbiased as I can about this. Okay, I don't want to be one of those bandwagon fans that just, oh, the Leafs rule, everyone else sucks. No. I'm a fan of hockey, then a Maple Leaf fan, okay? So I want to give my unbiased opinion about this. And yeah, I mean, I know I'm going to see in the comments, oh, he's just a biased Leaf fan, whatever. Okay, so the whole thing started between a fight between Devane and Trope. Now, these two guys I do not know. Devane, I recognize the name. He's the guy on the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the Trope guy is the guy on the Buffalo Sabres. Now, they got into a fight, and, you never like to see a fight end this way. Trope, he fell backwards, I guess, and his head smacked off the ice. And this is the one action that makes me kind of see the argument of take fighting out of hockey. Now, I'm on the side that fighting should stay in hockey. Fighting keeps out all of the Sean Avery shit, the Matt Cook shit. It keeps out that dirty style player. If you're gonna play dirty like that, you're gonna get punched in the head. So fighting should stay in hockey. But you know that rule that they're saying that helmets should stay on at all times, and if a helmet falls off during a fight, that's when the refs step in right away. Right away. I'm starting to lean more towards that, just because when you see someone's head hit the ice, it's just that's not a hockey fight. No one wants to see that, right? It's about punching someone in the head while they're standing up. The second that they become vulnerable and unconscious, you don't want to hurt them anymore. You don't want to injure someone. You want to make them feel pain. You don't want to injure them. So, I'm leaning more towards the helmet staying on for a fight, because the Trope guy, this whole thing, I mean, they must have started to get emotional. The guy got hurt. I don't know if he was bleeding or not. Again, I only saw the highlights. But, you know what, let me put it like this to you guys. Do you guys remember Bertuzzi hit on Steve Moore that ended Moore's career? For any of you young subscribers, search it up on YouTube. Go Bertuzzi and Steve Moore, right? Now, Bertuzzi blindsided this guy. Now, let me put it to you guys. I'm just going to ask you a question. Do you think it was the punch to the back of the head that injured Steve Moore, or was it Bertuzzi falling on Steve Moore and slamming his head and his neck into the ice with his body weight? Me personally, again, I'm not a doctor, but me personally, I think it was the fact that his head got smashed into the ice after with like a 250-pound power forward falling on top of him. I don't think it was the punch to the head that ended Steve Moore's career. It was the start of it, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't like to see people's heads smack off the ices. I wish that people could, if someone has a visor on, they should be able to just clip it off, keep their helmet on, and then fight, and no crazy haymakers to the side of the head or back of the head, just straight up punches to the nose, the cheek, the jaw, stuff like that. But it seemed like this whole thing started because of that fight. The Buffalo Sabre guy, he went down hard. So again, it goes back to, you got to think that they're feeling emotional on that bench, so the tough guy, he's got to step up and do something. And that's when Scott, he jumps on the ice and he goes after Phil Kessel. And you know what? I'll say this right now. Scott, he didn't do anything wrong. People are going to say that he shouldn't have gone after Phil Kessel, which, you know what? He shouldn't have, but that's his job. I mean, their bench is emotional right there. He gets out there, he does something. And you know what? In my opinion, he kind of did it in the right way. I mean, this is the way hockey should happen, right? Scott goes up to Kessel. He says, "Kessel, I'm jumping you." Kessel even said that. He told Kessel, "I'm jumping you." There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He didn't try to surprise Kessel with a blind haymaker, a sucker punch. He told you, "I'm jumping you." And the first thing he tried to do, he didn't try to blindside Kessel. He tried to grab him first, right? Now, Kessel, what did he do? He backed off and slashed him, which Kessel should do. I don't want Kessel fighting Scott, all right? I want Kessel to have an 82-game season. So I don't mind the first slash by Kessel. Then Bozak and Ashton came in and grabbed John Scott, or whatever his name is, before he could do anything, which Bozak and Ashton should have done. And then Kessel did something that I didn't like. The two-handed slash already when Ashton and Bozak had already, jumped jumped in on there. I don't mind the first slash from Phil Kessel because he's kind of just defending himself. He's not the guy who's supposed to fight Scott. Anyone who's calling Phil Kessel a pussy, you're a hypocrite, all right? You're a keyboard warrior. I don't care if you're 5'10", 5'11", whatever Kessel is. It's not your job to fight a 6'6" or 6'5", 240 guy. No. All right, you have a role. That's not Kessel's role. So I'm okay with him backing off. But the second slash was very childish and very dangerous as well. You know, you didn't need to do that. Again, Scott didn't do anything bad. I don't like him going after Kessel, but it's hockey, right? He tells Kessel, I'm going after you. Kessel's teammates come in, they protect him. Nothing bad happened. He didn't injure Kessel. So I don't like Kessel's slash. You know, that's one thing I don't like about Phil Kessel. He's a great player, but he always slashes. You know, he never fights, which he shouldn't. I'm not saying he should fight, but he doesn't need to slash either. He always slashes people. It's a very dirty move, and I am on the bandwagon that Kessel should get at least a 1-game suspension. Those two-handed slashes, I mean, he could have hit him in the wrong part of the ankle. He could have hit his own teammate by accident. That's unacceptable, Kessel. So he should get some reprimands from that two-handed slash, but the first slash I could care less about. Good job on Tyler Bozak and Carter Ashton for stepping in, just grabbing him. And, I mean, those guys can't fight, what's his name, Scott either. And that's, I guess, why Clarkson jumped off the bench, which, I mean, it's an automatic 10-game suspension. I'm not complaining about it, but you know what, Clarkson? I accept that. I think Clarkson did the right thing there. I know in the interview and the coach has to say he did the wrong thing, but you know what? You got Scott out there who's clearly going after Kessel, and all we have to back up Kessel, we have Bozak and Carter Ashton, okay? I mean, a tough guy. I don't know if he's going to be so tough when we got Colton Orr and McLaren and Frazier out there, right? So, I mean, when it comes to Clarkson jumping over the bench, he did what he had to do. He didn't, you know, I'll say it like this. Clarkson did it the smart way. When he jumped off the bench, I could be wrong. I only saw the highlights, but I did not see Clarkson throw one punch. All I saw him do was jump off the bench and grab Scott, you know, tie him up, kind of make sure that he couldn't do anything to our star players. So, you know, it's not like he jumped off the bench and tried to punch people and injure people, you know. He just said, screw this, I'm not letting Scott go after Kessel. It's just not happening on my watch. So Wendell Clarkson, he got off there and he stepped up. He's out for 10 games, which sucks, but you know what? He didn't punch anyone. He took the, he's going to take the suspension, whatever, okay? Again, going back to Kessel and his swipe or his two-handed slash, you know, people are saying that he's a pussy. He stepped up for it. He answered the bell after. He did that dirty little move of that slash, and a player from the Buffalo Sabres who's the right size for Phil Kessel stepped up, and what did Phil Kessel do? He fought, all right? He didn't run away from somebody whose own size. He ran away from somebody who's a tough guy enforcer, whose one job is out there to be a goon, okay? As soon as somebody else stepped up to Kessel, who made Kessel answer for his slash, somebody the same size, Kessel stood up, and he actually held his own. He made him bloody, the other guy. I think his name was Flynn. Again, another guy that I don't know. But good job for Flynn for stepping up on Kessel after he saw that two-handed slash. And good job for Kessel for not turtling, you know. He stepped up for that two-handed slash. So, I mean, I don't see a problem with this bench-clearing brawl. The only thing I see is Kessel with his two-handed slash. He should get a suspension. Clarkson should automatically get his 10-game suspension. Scott should get absolutely nothing. He didn't do anything wrong, all right? He just tried to jump Kessel, but he did it in a way that wasn't cheesy or anything. And then the best part of it all was Bernie Mac, Jonathan Bernier. Oh, my God. This guy, all of a sudden, you know, I've gone from a guy who's saying that Jim Reimer should get the game one start. You know, I want Jim Reimer to be our goalie. I don't know, man. Bernie Mac, what a beast, and what an opportunist. Oh my God, you got to think he's back there in his net, right? He's seeing all this happen on front of him, and he's thinking to himself, man, I'm fighting for the #1 job here in Toronto. I have an opportunity here at home in front of the home ice fans to get them to love me. He looks down at Ryan Miller. Ryan Miller, man, you were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Holy crap. What a great opportunistic move for Jonathan Bernier. It didn't even matter if he won or lost, and he did pretty good. I'm not going to say he whooped Ryan Miller's ass, but he definitely was the aggressor. He won by points, I'd say, so great job, Bernie Mac. You've just, I don't know, I think he's split it 50-50, if not more, in his favor going forward for the fans, at least for Toronto, man. Holy crap. And, Oh, and the last thing, you know how Kessel, I should say, he should get a suspension for that two-handed slash on Scott? He should also get another suspension for that stupid childish spear that he did at the end of it. Right at the end, you know, it's all breaking up out there. Clarkson's got Scott hooked, and fucking Phil Kessel, like a little child, like a little bitch, you know, with like a water gun or something like that, runs up to the big guy, sprays him, and then runs away again from a safe range, you know what I mean? Again, childish. I wish Kessel would stop being a little stick warrior with his hockey stick, but you know what? It made me laugh. That's good old hockey. I think Kessel should get 2 or 3 games. Clarkson should get 10. Scott should get 0, and everyone else, nothing wrong with it. Good old-fashioned hockey. But I will say this one thing. The whole thing started because of the Devane and Trope fight. Just have helmets on people so that when someone gets knocked out in a fight, you know, they stand back up. Because if you're on the bench and you see your teammate having to need help to get off, you know, emotionally that does something to you. You want to do something for your team. You want to answer back. You know, you have that mindset, oh, I'm going to get out there, I'm going to body check someone, I'm going to kill someone, I'm going to score a goal. Well, if you're a tough guy like Scott, what's the one thing that you have to do? I'm going to go out there, I'm going to hurt somebody, okay? So, I mean, he gets put out there, Kessel, Ashton, Bozak, who's he going to go after? So, I don't know. It seemed like a fair thing to me. The Leafs were definitely definitely going to get some suspensions from it, but funny as shit. And I cannot wait till the Buffalo Sabres face the Toronto Maple Leafs during the regular season. Oh my God! I just gotta say, Scott, I don't think you did anything wrong, but going after Phil Kessel, I mean that's a chump move for a guy your size. I just got to put it like this: are you going to be that tough when Fraser McLaren, Fraser, and Colton Orr are in the building? I don't know if you're going to be going after Phil Kessel like that, but you know, I'm calling it right now. Buffalo, Toronto, first 5 minutes, Scott versus McLaren or Scott versus Orr. The very first time Scott touches the ice, Randy Carlo, I'll be like, all right, McLaren, go get him. You know it's going to happen like that, so that's a scripted fight waiting to happen. All right, so there you go, boys. There's my opinion on the brawl last night in Toronto. You guys go nuts in the comments as well, and yeah, keep the arguments to a minimum, all right? So there you go. For Johnny Superbman and the great Domski, take it easy, boys, and we'll see you next time.